Satnam Aloha, everybody. So I just wanted to jump on here because I was ready for the lunar eclipse through the signs live stream, and I realized that I put the wrong date, right? It's May 14th. It's because I was up so late last night with that moon. It's almost full already if you've seen it. It's very intense. So rather than going forward with this because I've made the commitment to do May 14th and people like to be here live with me. So yeah, we're going to continue to do it tomorrow. So in 24 hours, if you can make it. And remember that it's going to be recorded. So if you got a time zone that doesn't work for you, you can come back and watch it again. Okay. So it's really important. And this is like filled with a destiny, this time that we're in right now. And you're probably feeling this pressure building, especially this week, right? And so remember, the creative process is like pressure, 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 and then release. So we're going to feel a little bit of a relief after the lunar eclipse. So that's on May 15th. And following the next week, the new stories should start to begin for you if you're doing your inner work. So there's lots to talk about. So I thought I would jump on and just do one aspect of this lunar eclipse for people. So let me just pull up my screen here. Me and the Zodiac. There we go. So this is definitely a wow moment for us individually and for us as a collective, right? So here's the chart, the exact time of the lunar eclipse on May 15th, where I live, right in my neck of the woods. So it may be May 16th for you, right? It depends. I just want to make sure that you're able to see. I wish you could see what I see. It's like the House of Mirrors here. Okay, we're in preview. And okay. Okay, so let's just go forward with this. So okay, so if you haven't watched my last video, watch that. It's totally worth the 26 minutes of your time. So the thing that I wanted to focus on was this Saturn is squaring the sun and the moon during this lunar eclipse, which is a really big deal. Like Saturn's big daddy, right? You don't mess with Saturn. And Saturn is about making choices, right? It's about you making a choice in your life right now. And the theme is relationships. It's really about relationships. This is echoed through a lot of other, like Western astrology, Vedic astrology. They're all saying the same thing. And human design, what I do, and golden shadow astrology, it's the same thing. It's about our relationships. Who's coming through the portal with us, right? So Saturn is like, it's about a choice. It's about making a choice now. So are you going to pick the south node of the moon here is in the 14. You can see that. That's the horseshoe. Whoops, or sorry, the sun. The 14 is in the moon position, right? The 14.1. And then the sun is in the 8, right? So the 8 is about our authenticity. It's about being ourselves, our authentic self. And then the 14 is about compromise, which I talked about in the last video. So compromising. So basically the lunar eclipse is like, are you going to, 14, are you going to stick and be trapped with the bargain bin? Right? The bargain bin people. Or are you going to go top shelf? And that's the 8, right? Who's aligned with you spiritually, right? It's not about who looks good on paper, you know? Because lots of people can look good on paper, but they're not aligned with you spiritually. So you can't be making your decisions with the mind, because the mind is duality, right? It's back and forth, this and that, this and that. It compares and contrasts. That's what the mind does. It's about feeling. Remember, we're going through a solar plexus mutation, and it's not about thinking our way through life. This just is going to create mental anxiety, insomnia, all that stuff, stress, right? And now we're being called to feel our way through life, right? Feel our way through life. So this is what's really going to guide you during this time, right? That we're in right now is the feeling, right? That's the only thing that's real. So Saturn is about what are your desires, right? Is your desire for bargain bin or top shelf? Like you're going to make the choice. And you're already feeling it, right? You've got to be a zombie right now not to be feeling what you need to be doing, right? Your intuition is going to be nagging you, right? Nagging you. So I just wanted to talk about the year 2000 because there's an echo around this time, May 2000. So think back to May 2000 and in the 6 months following, right? Because the eclipses are ripple into six months into the future. So May, June, July, August, September, October, during that time period, there's going to be an echo of this time. So what I was reflecting on my own life, because it always helps people when I talk about my own personal experience of what was going on for me then was, let me see. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about fear and I want to talk about insecurity. Okay, so this is what we're going through right now. So basically, our world has conditioned us to think that we're secure if we have the RRSPs, right? If we've got the insurance plans, we've got all our money in the bank, and we have all this, and we believe wrongly that we're secure. And the truth is, the capital T truth, is that we live in an uncertain world, right? The world is uncertain. And they prey on this, right? These businesses and organizations and corporation and little g preys on that we're all insecure. Deep down, when you really like close your eyes and tune into yourself, you know this as a truth, right? As a truth, a capital T truth. So I just want to talk about New Age teachings, and it's really interesting because Jupiter just went into Aries, if you follow astrology, out of Pisces, and that's going to really bring the floodgates open, like the big, nothing can remain hidden, right? So the big spotlight on these New Age teachings and these false teachers out there. It said the prophecy during this time that there'll be a lot of false prophets coming out of the woodwork because there's so many people that are awakening and they're interested in their spirituality for the first time, right? Ready to commit to their spiritual journey. And then there's these false prophets that can trap people. So these New Age teachings, and this is not about me like putting shade on New Age teachers and stuff. I just want to warn people, right? I want to warn people because everything you need is inside you. Everything you need is inside you. So any teacher that's teaching you, follow me, I have the answers. You don't want to follow this person. If they're pointing you back to yourself, that's the teacher that you want to be with. That's the true guide. That's the true leader, right? So New Age teachings have been infiltrated by these shadow forces, right? So like I said, Jupiter in Aries is going to really shine the light on this in these next years coming, because darkness can't remain hidden for the Aquarian age. So there's one popular teaching, and it's called follow your bliss. And you may have heard that, meaning if something doesn't feel good, right, don't do it. If something doesn't feel good, don't do it. So this is a teaching that can make you avoid your spiritual growth and expansion, right? I'm not going to go there because it doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to me. So this is different than feeling tone, right? So let me just break this down a little bit for you. So you want to reflect in your life. Like take a moment right now to reflect in your life and about your greatest challenge. Like what was your greatest challenge in life so far? And then what was where you experienced the greatest growth, right, in your life so far? Well, those two things are going to be the same, right? because the challenging times is what brings you the most growth. So if we don't challenge ourselves, life's going to step in and challenge us. It will do it for us. If we don't do it ourselves, life will do it for us. We're here to be challenged, right? As spiritual beings coming in to have these human experiences. And growth is uncomfortable. You see, the bliss, like follow your bliss, follow staying comfortable, right? So do you think, like the caterpillar and the butterfly, right? When the caterpillar comes into that cocoon stage and turns into primordial soup, do you think that caterpillar is uncomfortable, right? Or a baby coming out the birth canal, do you think that baby's uncomfortable? Or the mother that's giving birth, do you think she's a little uncomfortable? Right? Because we're going through a rebirth, a spiritual rebirth right now. You're going to be upgraded if you really walk through that portal now, upgraded to like whatever you are, 2.0, like you're going forward on your journey. So you want to commit to that, and you want to look around. Who is with you, right? Who is making you feel crappy about yourself? Who's not valuing you? Right? Who's not on the spiritual path with you? Who feels like a burden, right? That you're carrying, that you're piggybacking, trying to piggyback through that portal. You want to let them go. Like this is what this time is about. It's about pruning, right? It's about pruning. You know, gardening, it's about pruning, right? What's valuable? It's North Node in Taurus, right? Sun in Taurus. What has value to you, right? So you got to value yourself first, and then you can see, oh, this has a lot of value for me, right? I want this with me. I want to invest in this. I want to invest my energy and my time into this, like this person, because it's about relationships or people or community. So you really want to embrace discomfort when the challenges come into your life, which the challenges are coming fast and furious now. Right? Our challenges. You're probably already feeling it. So this is a big signal. If you're feeling a bit uncomfortable, like you're being called to stretch, that's a big signal that you're in a spiritual test, especially when you feel fear. Right? So have you noticed in your life so far, when you make those big jumps, those quantum leaps in evolution, that they're always preceded by a lot of fear? Right? Your greatest blessings are always preceded by a lot of fear. It's just how the spiritual path works, right? So that's the hurdle that you have to jump over, and not to let it stop you. So this particular fear, I mean, I talked about this before, about the different frequencies of fear, and there's New Age teachings that fear is not real. It's totally real. It's a frequency in the body. Right? It moves through. It's a frequency that's moving through you, right? So this particular fear, you know, there's the fear of like there's a bus coming at me and I got to move to keep myself safe. That's natural fear, right? That fear is there to protect you. This is a different fear that comes up when you're about to move forward in your journey, and this is generated by the ego. Right? So the ego just basically is the limited identity that you believe is you. It's that voice in your head that's always making commentaries about your life, making commentaries about you, and you believe it's you, right? It's not you at all. It's the ego. It's a foreign installation. If you read Carlos Castaneda, right? It's a foreign installation. It's your conditioning. It's your conditioned mind. And that's the thing, right? When we're making decisions from our mind, we're going to the past. The mind is just about the past. It's thinking about the past, what happened in the past, or it's projecting the past into the future. Well, that's going to happen again, so I'm not going to do that, right? So the ego doesn't want you in your power. It's not your friend. Ego is not your amigo, right? Ego is not your friend. It doesn't want you in your power, your spiritual power. It doesn't want you in your divinity. And the ego is very threatened by anything that's awakening you to your true nature, right? And you can see this channel. We've got You know, the 51 and the 25. The 51's in Venus, and then, which is the ruler of the sun, right? Venus, ruler of Taurus. In the 25, which is Jupiter, and that's the channel of initiation, right? This lunar eclipse is initiating us. This is a very important time on our spiritual journey right now. And it's going to dictate determine the next, right? The next 6 months to the next chapter of experience that you're going to be in. So when you feel fear about something, right, that your intuition's been bugging you and nagging you to do, and you just can't let this go, whatever this is, it's just like, I try to get rid of it, and it just keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. Well, that's the persistence of your soul, right? Your intuition. And I've got a video too, the difference between the voice of your ego and the voice of your soul. So you want to check that out, so you know, because we can get fooled and manipulated by the ego trying to tell us that it's our soul talking when it's not. So you want to check that out. And also with your intuition, just quickly, I'm going to put a link on the bottom when I'm done and upload this meditation that I have, and it's a Kundalini yoga meditation for intuition. It's very powerful. So just quickly, you just interlace your fingers like that. You put your Jupiter fingers up, your index fingers, cross the thumbs over, bring that right under your nose, okay? And your eyes are closed, and you do 4 quick inhales through the open mouth, right? You're using your diaphragm, and then you exhale through the nostrils, right? Keep your shoulders down and relax the whole time. And do that for 16 minutes. So what that does, it opens up all your chakras, so you're aligned, right, with the divine. And it stimulates your pituitary gland, which is connected to your third eye. So it connects you to your neutral mind. And it's quite, like, that's one of my go-to meditations is for intuition, especially if you're in that state of the mind. Like, should I do this? No, well, this will happen. Well, what, right? The back and forth of the mind. To do this meditation for intuition, and your answer will just be there. It's so fast. It's so quick. It's just, you'll have that neutrality. Because your intuition is connected to your highest destiny. It knows what's correct for you. Okay? So I'll put that link below so that people can practice that. And especially if you're waking like in the middle of the night with insomnia, right? Having the dark night of the soul. Right, just the intuition, because there's so much static, right? The frequencies, these shadow frequencies that are around us right now. Yeah. Okay. So the fear can come up, right? That's the emotion of fear, and it's connected to the ego when you know your intuition is saying to do something, and you think about it, and it brings up a lot of fear. So I actually had this experience because I was meditating on the year 2000 and how it correlates to this year that we're in right now, 2022. So I had this experience back in February of 2022, and I got this strong message from my intuition to call this woman that I have a very powerful spiritual past life connection with, right? So I have the good sense now not to ignore these messages from my intuition, because you get... You know, there's 2 ways of learning. It's the light as a feather method, and that's when you listen to your intuition and you obey. And then there's the 2x4 method. And that's when the universe is like, okay, he's not listening. Let's step in, right? And creates all this pressure in your life. That's like, it's kind of like that Saturnian energy, right? That's like pressuring you, like you're on the wrong path, like go over there. And so life is like forcing you to go over there where your destiny is. So it can be a blessing, but some people are addicted to the 2x4 method. I've noticed that, but I learned, right? So back in 2000, right, the year 2000, I was getting these same kinds of messages, right? These same kind of messages to call this woman, like this other woman in 2000 back in Canada. And I ignored my intuition, right? And I procrastinated. I dug in my heels because I felt so much fear when I would even think about like calling her. It would be like, I would be like terrified and in fear, right? And there was my ego telling me, she's way out of your league, right? She won't want anything to do with you, right? She's going to just say no and you're going to look like a fool. And why bother, right? Why bother with this? This is too much trouble. So overthinking, right? Instead of listening to my intuition. But you know what? My soul kept me up at night. I couldn't sleep for a whole week. I would wake up every night at 3:33 a.m. 3:33 a.m. Every night I would wake up. So after a week of this, because I knew what was going on, but I was ignoring it, right? I finally gave in and I surrendered. Right? I said to the universe at 3:33 a.m., it's like, okay, I surrender. I'll call her up, right? I'll call her up. And then, but please let me go back to sleep, right? Let me go back to sleep. So that night, right, I slept like a baby. And then a couple days after that, after I called her, well, that woman ended up being my wife, right? My future wife, and had a profound influence on me in my spiritual journey and vice versa. And we divorced 12 years later, but it wasn't of course it was a sad thing in one way, but spiritually it wasn't, because we had both fulfilled the purpose of our relationship. Every relationship has a purpose, right? So karma was paid in full, check, right? We both had transformed. We were completely different people when we left our relationship. And it was time for the both of us to move on with a new spiritual curriculum. We had reached the ceiling of what we came to do together, right? So just to remember that, right? When you're feeling that fear, now when I feel that fear coming up, it's like, oh, this is big. This is a huge thing. And remember what I talked about at the paradox. In the spiritual world, it's the little things, right? The little things on the earth plane, like just call that woman up, invite her over for dinner, right? What's the big deal? Well, in the spiritual world, that's huge, right? Huge things. And then big, huge things on the earth plane are like little tiny things on the spiritual world, right? So what I do when I'm faced with all of this fear is I really pray. Right? I pray that God be with me. Like, please be with me. I'm going through a huge spiritual test here. Yeah, just that pray. And you'll feel that, like, please just bring me peace, right? Bring me peace. I'm ready to show up to this lesson. And then the meditate too. Meditation, how it really helps too, to get yourself clear. And have compassion for yourself, you know? A lot of people don't have compassion for themselves and they're listening to their ego and you should just get over this. And it's like, no, these are big, big spiritual tests that we're in right now, you know? And you know, I'm not a fearful person. I'm double Leo, right? I'm a double Leo. I'm confident for the most part. And I've spoken to like hundreds of people in public speaking and like stood up and confronted bullies twice my size. I've done many, many things that take courage, right? But things like that, like just bring me to my knees in terms of the fear that comes up. It's quite amazing. So just remember that whatever you're being faced to do and act upon right now is just to know what you're up against and that you've got God on your side. So what does the ego want, right? The ego wants us stuck and it wants us stagnant and it wants us compliant so that we never grow. And it wants us stuck in these old karmic patterns so that we're on this planet, right? We're on this planet to grow and evolve through our human experiences. And that means facing our fears. So it's not about going towards our bliss. This is the shadow infiltration of New Age teachings, right? It's not letting that ego stop us. It's getting into that spiritual warrior position. So you don't want to compromise, like back to this shadow pattern of compromise, the voice of your soul, by listening to your ego and your mind. You don't want, like, that's a total compromise and you lose your power. And then you're back on this earth plane, right? This wheel of samsara over and over and over and over again. We're here to grow. We're here to transcend and leap into this new age of Aquarius. So that's what I wanted to share with you, is to start valuing yourself and then valuing the people that you want around you. Okay, and pruning. It's about pruning and simplifying. Keep everything. The North Node is in the gift of simplicity. And simplicity is your intuition, right? It's efficient. It's there. It's aligned with your higher self. And then the shadow is complexity. And that's the intellect. That's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And just remember, Saturn wants you happy, right? The higher frequency of Saturn is the father, right? The healthy father wants his children happy, right? So there's something really wonderful on this other side of the sphere for you to remember that. Okay, I just want to acknowledge some people that are here that showed up. Look at that, 26 minutes. I thought I wouldn't have much to say. Okay, where's the comments? Okay. Ginger. Right on. I'm ready for relief. Waiguru, eh? Yeah. This pressure's building, but it's just about being persistent. You know, I do a tarot reading and I keep getting that 9 of Wands. If people follow the tarot, 9 of Wands is like, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going. You're almost there. You're almost there. Right? Because it's so tempting. It's like, and this isn't just this lifetime. It's like, I was talking to a friend here on the island, right? It's lifetimes. It's like when you tune into, like, my soul is weary, like battle weary of doing this lifetime after lifetime. But it's like, hold on. Relief is coming. And I can feel it, right? I can feel it. Yeah. So that's good, Nova, X Gaia, Nova 10 Gaia. I have the urge of letting everything go. Yeah. This is the way to do it. If you don't know what to let go, let it all go. Right? It's like if you've got a table full of stuff, or if you're, this is a good analogy too, is when you're in your home and you're purging. Right? You just want to purge stuff. And sometimes things carry emotions and frequency and they're not aligned with you anymore. It's like put it all in a big pile, right? You're throwing it all away, right? It seems like you're throwing it all away, and only take back the things that you really value, right? So do that with people too. Who's my foul weather friends? Who's on my caseload for the spiritual people? Who only calls me up when they need my help? Right? Or they want me to be the receptacle for their pain, right? They want to just complain over and over and over again, especially if you're a projector too in the human design system. And then you give them some like gold, like some golden advice, like here's how you can get out of this by taking self-responsibility for what you're creating. And they're like, no, in their own way. No, I don't want that. What they're saying is like, I just want you to listen to my victim story, you know? And that's not your job as a spiritual healer, teacher, life coach, is to just listen, right? Just to listen to somebody and feed. Like, yeah, of course you're going to listen. But when they start repeating themselves, that's the sign for me. Oh, they're going into victim. And I actually tune into my solar plexus and I start to get a little quiver in my solar plexus, and that's the anger. I'm going to talk about anger actually tomorrow during the live stream. A little tiny bit of anger, and that's the sign like, oh, this person's overstepping my boundaries and does not want to hear, does not want any guidance. They want to be stuck in their victim story, right? Doesn't serve anyone. When you're feeding someone's victim, you're feeding your own victim, right? Your own victim consciousness. We're not victims here on this planet. So Ginger says, I'm having the breakup with someone I really love, but it's just wrong. Yeah. And this is the thing we need to remember too with the pruning. and letting people go, because there's an attachment there, right? And there's a grief there. And the grief is like what your dreams of the future might have been with that person, right? There can be a grieving there. Well, we were going to do this, and we were going to grow old together, and we were going to create a business together, and we were going to have children together, or whatever it is, right? It's like you're grieving that dream, right? You're letting go of that dream. But you're allowing, so remember, when you're letting things go, then it allows for the new to come in, right? The universe doesn't like a vacuum. And just to know that there's something better and greater for you and that other person that you're letting go of too, right? You're freeing them from your karma together. Yeah. So feel the emotions, right? Don't suppress those. Let yourself feel grief. Have some kind of little ritual, a letting go ritual, like a burning bowl or something like that. Yeah. A wooden person says too. Same with you, eh? Yeah. It's really a theme. Yeah. That's right. Michelin's here from Montreal. Great. Yeah. Yeah, good things have starting to come in too. Tons of things. Yeah, purging's good. I had the getting rid of foul weather friends. I had to do that too in my 20s, because I would attract, even before I became a teacher and helper. I was always helping before. I didn't even know that I was helping people and guiding people. It was just natural to me. I've always been like this even as a child. And I remember in my 20s, and I wasn't getting paid for it, right? In my 20s, I was just feeling exhausted by spending time with certain people. That's always a sign when you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I've just been drained dry of every ounce of vitality, right? That's a sign that there's something off in the energy exchange with that person that I had to go through. It's like, well, who's on my caseload? Who's on my caseload here? And with the names, and there was so many. I think I had like 2 people left over, but it felt so empowering just to let them go, right? Just to let them go. Sing Miracle says she's, my intuition says it's a she. You've been purging as well and had to stop because of the live stream. That's funny. I've got my burn pit matches. Karen, that's good. Right? Just to play it out on the external can help release any attachments, right? Because you're acting, right? The Aquarian age, the language of the Aquarian age is action. So just like burning a person's name, sending them light and love, right? It's letting the universe know that you're serious. Yeah. Okay, Robert from Wolfville, Nova Scotia. Awesome. Oh, you're a splenic manifester. I think I did a reading for you, right? A recorded reading. It sounds familiar. Yeah. I'm feeling it. Thank you for sharing, Paige. Absolutely. Easy to purge things in, but yeah. Michelin says, easy to purge things in our environment, but harder to purge relationships, especially when it's a family member. Yeah, right now, not letting go the relationship, but taking distance. Yeah. It's different, isn't it, when it comes to your family, because you can't really escape your family in a sense, but you can take space from your family, right? So you can get clear on yourself and remember, this is a lesson of self-value, about valuing yourself. I had to do this with my own father. I had to get to that point of self-value and self-respect. I'm going to talk about this too in tomorrow's live stream about self-respect. Of saying, it's not like I hate you. I hate you as a person. It's like, no, I don't like your behavior towards me. I don't like this relationship dynamic that we're in. You stop blaming that other person, because it's just projecting your shadow. It's just saying, you know what, this dynamic doesn't work for me anymore, right? It has to change, it has to shift. And then it's, you hold that frequency of self-respect and self-value. And if they choose not to do that and want to continue like this old script, you know, then it's like, well, I need some space. And I had to take 15 years of space from my father, and he came around, right? He totally came around after I was doing my own healing work. So remember that, because we're connected energetically and through our DNA, through our family members, that when we heal, we actually heal our families. This is a spiritual teaching, an ancient spiritual teaching. So, right, if you take that space and it's like, I'm really going to go into a deeper self-love. I'm going to love myself upright, right? I'm going to go deep into that self-love. You're going to heal them, right? Just by you focusing on yourself. And I've seen it, right? I saw it with my own father. I didn't recognize him, literally. And my brother too, right? So just remember that, to not get into that ego trip of like, you should feel guilty because you're leaving your family, and you're doing it for your own self-love. Yeah. Okay. Robert, I feel like I purged so many people, the only thing left in my life is plants. Okay, which is a wonderful blessing, because I'm discovering the plant guides. Yeah, plants are totally sentient. Think of getting a pet. I got my little bougie, and he really helps me. I would never purge bougie. Yeah. Okay. See, this is where, Robert, you're making room for the new to come in, right? Like, the universe doesn't like a vacuum. Okay. Great answer, Michelin. You described exactly what I go through. And just don't take on the guilt, right? That's important. Okay. Well, that was fun. I'm glad that I listened to my intuition and jumped on with you guys. And it's only 37 minutes. So hopefully that you all can show up tomorrow. It's going to be really good. We're going to go through all the signs. So according to your sun, moon, and rising sign, where this is playing out in your life, it shouldn't be any shockers, right? But I'll fill in a little bit more of the gaps for you. Okay. And really, like, go into a place of meditation and letting go and trusting, right? Scorpio wants us clinging to things that we don't value. It wants us in the bargain bin, right? There's nothing better for me. I've got to hold on to this toxic relationship. If that toxic relationship is making you not value yourself, right? Your awesome, greatest self. This isn't narcissism. This is like self-esteem at the highest frequency, right? Those are the people that you want in your life, that are helping you to spiritually grow and evolve. Okay, so I'll see you all tomorrow at 111 Hawaii Standard Time tomorrow, and that's like 411 in Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so have a great day and take really good care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Satnam Aloha.